Breaking. Nnamdi Kanu's case to be heard in British High Court Tuesday, right? This report was made on the November 14th, 2022. That was a Monday, and Tuesday is today, the 15th of November, 2022. So Nnamdi Kanu's case is to be heard in British High Court today, Tuesday. So we're also monitoring that. Let's see what they have to say about the case. The full hearing in the judicial review challenge against the foreign secretary brought on behalf of separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu will take place on Tuesday, November 15, 2022. Politics Nigeria reports that Kanu, a British Nigerian, is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a proscribed group that calls for the sovereignty of Nigeria's southeast region. The challenge brought by Kanu's family relates to the former Foreign Secretary Liz Truss' unwillingness to reach a decisive view that the 55-year-old was a victim of extraordinary rendition and other human rights abuse by the Nigerian government, an approach still maintained by her successor, James Cleverly. Despite admissions by the Nigerian government itself, damning findings by the United Nations Human Rights Council Working Group on arbitrary detention and the Nigerian Court of Appeal, it remains the UK government's position that it simply cannot decide how Kanu was brought to Nigeria in June 2021, what happened to him en route, and whether he has been detained arbitrarily, and if so, what action the UK should take. Highlighting the importance of the case in a preliminary ruling, Justice Ritchie said, the right to life of a British subject is at the center of this judicial review, in which allegations of unlawful rendition and torture are made against the Nigerian government, which allegations at the Court of Appeal level have apparently been upheld by the Nigerian courts. In advance of Tuesday's hearing, Kingsley Kanu, who has brought the challenge on behalf of his brother, said, I am very pleased that my brother's plight will be heard in the High Court tomorrow, that is today, Tuesday, and that a British judge will consider whether the Foreign Secretary has acted lawfully to date in refusing to reach a firm view on this extraordinary rendition. The Nigerian courts have shown that they uphold the rule of law and are willing to hold the Nigerian government accountable. I believe the British government must act equally decisively when the serious violations of the human rights of British citizens abroad are concerned. Shireen Maka, solicitor at Bindmans LLP, who represents Kanu's family, said on Monday, it is impossible to understand the position of successive foreign secretaries on this case. They have become mired in a culture of compulsive procrastination in the face of overwhelming evidence of serious human rights abuses, rather than responding in a principled and decisive way and fulfilling the most basic function of a state, which is to protect its own citizens from harm. Kanu's family is represented by John Halford and Shireen Maka of Bidmans LLP, together with Charlotte Kilroy, KC of Blackstone Chambers, and Tatiana Itwell of Doughty Street Chambers. Wow. So this case is to be heard today now in British High Court. We have been saying it, that for a very long time, the British has been silent over this matter. We were confused. We don't even understand the role of the British in the life of Nnamdi Kanu as their citizen. Record has it that Nnamdi Kanu left the UK for Kenya with British passport. He entered Kenya, and the Kenya immigration cleared him as a British citizen with British passport. So how come the Kenyan government allowed that extraordinary rendition from Kenya back to Nigeria? How come Kenyan government aligned with Nigerian government to abduct and to kidnap arbitrarily, taking Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria for trial? And since June 2021, that incident occurred till today, British government has kept quiet up till now. From the time of Boris Johnson to the time of Liz Truss, and now the time of Rishi Sunak, nobody is talking about this matter in the UK. How? The Americans will not do this. There are two incidents that happened in Nigeria in the past few months, and we saw how the Americans responded. One was the kidnap of an American in the north. Nigerian government, all of us were sleeping in Nigeria here when the American super corps entered Nigeria at night, disarmed and killed those people, and rescued their man, and went back to America, and we did not know here until the following day. Nigerian government was sleeping. Ha! That is what it takes for a country that values the life and right of his citizens to respond to abnormal situations. Secondly, another Yoruba man here, I think in Osun State or so, that retired from US back to Nigeria and wanted to do business here because he feels he's Nigerian and he must invest back home, was kidnapped and killed in Nigeria here. What did the US do through their consulate? They demanded for the corpse of that man. They came and carried him here and took the corpse back to the United States and gave him a state burial. That guy, even though he wears black skin, he came to Nigeria with an American passport as an American citizen, so it's their property. And the Nigerian government was still sleeping. They didn't know how to respond to that. They were still, mumuing around. American government came and took that man's corpse back to America. Even the family of the man here in Nigeria could not help it. That is what it takes, a country that values the life and right of its citizens to act to the last for their citizens. But in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the British kept more since June last year till now. They refused to do anything. It is today that they want to hear the suit in the British High Court today. Why did it take so long? Why is British so wicked like this? Because it has to do with black man. This is racism. And this is a lesson that even when people migrate from other countries, especially from Africa to the UK, and carry their British passport after some years, irrespective of you being a citizen with a British passport, as long as you are wearing a black skin, they don't have regard for you. That is a subtle institutional racism. That is a subtle traditional racism. So even because that is, I learned there's a question they ask you. When you meet a typical British man and you are black, the British man will ask you, where are you from? And you say, well, you are a British citizen simply because you carry a British passport. But because you are wearing black skin, they will still ask you, but where are you originally from? Because they know that your skin color does not show that you are one of them. And that is exactly what the British government is doing now in this case of Nnamdi Kanu. I just hope that the case that they will be heard today in the British High Court will produce a result towards the releasing of Nnamdi Kanu. I hope the UK government will adhere to observing human rights and then issue express instruction to the Nigerian government to release Nnamdi Kanu after the court hearing. We'll continue to track it and we'll give you update when the case is concluded today in the British High Court. Thank you for listening and let me have a comment below.